And your line, though.
All right, thanks. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining me. This is Selena Roane, your host for Close to Death. This is powered by FEAR Paranormal and DTM Wicked Radio. Hey, everybody. Just want to wish everybody a Happy New Year. I hope 2015 is going to be amazing. I know mine is looking really, really good right now. It's getting better every day. I have a really cool guest on tonight. I've been waiting to talk to him, actually talk to him for quite some time. We've been friends on Facebook and back and forth commenting on each other's stuff. But Gary Brown is the owner and designer of some really cool equipment, and it's called Spirit Paranormal Equipment. And he has been at a couple of events. I know he was at Parafest, and we're going to talk to him a little bit about that. Main thing is, him and I are both going to be at Sloss Furnace February 14th, 13th and 14th, both days. And we're going to be investigating the most haunted place, one of the most haunted places in the U.S., which is Sloss Furnaces. And if you need tickets, please go to the website, slossfurnaces.com, go to their events page, and there's a tab on there that you can pick which day and buy your tickets. Hopefully you'll come both days. It's going to be great. I'm a rep for two other companies, which I won't mention right now because they're not Spirit Paranormal Equipment, and my guess that would be kind of rude. So I'm just going to say that I'm excited to talk to him about some of his equipment that he's built, and there's this one piece that I'm going to pick his brain about because I've been eyeballing his skull for, not his actual skull on his shoulders, people. It's a skull that he's built as a piece of really cool-looking equipment, and I kind of want to pick his brain about what that thing all has to do. It is like the coolest thing I've seen as far as a design of a piece of equipment. The paint job is custom on it. It's just, you have to go to his Facebook page and stuff like that and look at it, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about the minute you see it. I know it's got a little Take-Two action in there. Looks like it may have a little EMF. I don't know what all it's got going on in there, but I know I want to find out. So, like I said, Sloss Furnaces, Gary will be there with his cool equipment. We'll be checking it out, and in the tunnels and in the boiler room, and we're going to be doing a lot of, PACC with Carol Malone, and Dark Side Entertainment will be there also to do some forensics. So that should be pretty cool. We also have a couple of other events coming up with Dark Side. I'm not real sure if Gary's going to be at Tombstone. I guess we'll find out. But we have Tombstone coming up in May. And then February 2016, I want to tell y'all all about this. You need to go to my Facebook page, FEAR Paranormal Society, or Close to Death Facebook page, and you will see information on a thing called the Voodoo Voyage. It's a spirit cruise. And it'll have Brian Kano, Randy Hardy, Kevin Betcher from Deep South Paranormal. I will be on there. They are adding people as we speak, so I cannot wait for that. And it's in February of 2016. They have payment plans for this cruise. So look on there and find out all the details, and when you call to book, just tell them you heard it on Close to Death, or from FEAR Paranormal, or from Selena. Is Gary
in line?
Yeah.
In line.
Awesome. Hey, Mr. Brown, how are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm looking forward to February. How about you?
Oh, yeah. I can't wait.
Well, I was kind of telling them a little bit about you before you come on, and telling them I wanted to pick your brain a little bit about that skull I've been eyeballing for a long time, and I had to kind of decipher that it wasn't actually your skull on your shoulders. Just so they wouldn't think, oh, this chick's kind of scary. Let's hear a little bit about how you caught the paranormal addiction bug. How did that happen?
Well, I've been in law enforcement for many years, and I always worked the night shift. So, a lot of the places that I worked around in the areas and stuff were out in the country, and course, there was old farmhouses and cemeteries and stuff, and some of the cemeteries we had to lock up in the middle of the night. And just being around some of those places, I've witnessed some crazy stuff going on, and I thought, well, heck, I'm going to, bring a camera with me and start taking some pictures and stuff when I had some free time, and was getting some crazy results. And so then I started making my own stuff, converting the cameras and stuff over and whatever, and that's how I got into it, and been doing it ever since.
And how many years has that been? How many years?
Actually, it's been probably about a little over 20 years, I guess.
Wow, time flies, huh? Yeah. This when you say it's so funny because you were in law enforcement, it's funny how when we're on investigations, how all the time when we, of course we let, we have permission to go these places, and we also let usually the law enforcement of the city know, don't be alarmed. We're going to be here investigating late at night, so you'll see flashlights in here and stuff like that, because, some of these places are abandoned and things, and it's funny how the cops always stop in and want to investigate with us, just for a few minutes, but they want to investigate with us, or they get real into it, or they want to tell us their experiences, and it seems like, a lot of law enforcement guys are sometimes some of the most skeptical. Do you figure you're kind of skeptical about it, or are you a definite believer?
I'm a definite believer, and a funny story about that, though. Years ago, of course, certain things like that, you just want to keep hush-hush around people you work with, because then they think that you're weird. So we got a call one night, and there was this big cemetery where people had reported a bunch of cars and a bunch of people out. So everybody was calling me on my cell phone going, hey, well, you're closer. Why don't you go check it out? And so everybody decided to go check it out. And we get over there, and my supervisor was like, oh, it's just a bunch of ghost hunters. And he told all of them, he was like, hey, he said, I think I'm going to leave Gary here with y'all so he can be y'all's personal security while y'all are here. And they were like, that's great. And looked at me and started laughing like, he was really hurting my feelings by leaving me there with him, and I was like, heck yeah, that's great. So I got to hang out with them and do my thing while we were out there for a couple hours.
Oh, that's cool. Speaking of cemeteries, we were out at the cemetery in Calvert, Texas, and we were kind of back. This cemetery's not real kept up in the very back. There's this mausoleum, and it's of this old Navy, he was high up a naval officer. And we were back there, and this car drives up and parks behind our cars, and the lights are on and everything. And I'm like, dude, I got like hundreds of dollars of equipment in my truck, and it's unlocked. Can somebody go check and see what these guys want? You know what I mean? If they're cops, or just let them know we're good, whatever, So they start walking up to the car, and guess what? The car disappears in front of them. And they're like, whoa. I mean, they were like crapping their pants, of course, you know what I'm saying? So have you ever had something quite like that as being a cop happen, like see something 1 minute and the next minute, a job chick like that and the next minute it's just gone? I mean, have you had any kind of experiences quite like that?
Yeah, nothing really like that. I mean, of course, there's some of the places that I've been to where, you can pull up on the hill or on this flat level spot and your car will take off and all this other crazy stuff. And I mean, I've done some of that, but nothing like that.
We all thought, what the hell did we eat at that restaurant we were at earlier? What did Barry Klinge have in their burgers? To make it a car just absolutely, 8 people saw the car pull up, and then 3 of them or 4 of them went to go check it out, and they got halfway there, and the car wasn't there no more. And we didn't see it drive off. You know what I'm saying? There's no explanation for it. And they were just like, wow, it was crazy. But anyway, So what has been actually your wildest experience? I mean, the one that really stands out, that scared the crap out of you?
Well,
If you got scared. If not, just which one is the wildest experience? It's real hard because I have a cop on my team. His name's Al. He don't get scared really too easily about nothing. So, you know.
I've really been scared, but, I mean, there has been a few things that's happened that, you know, I just had to stop and think about, like, well, you know, am I really seeing this? You know, is this really happening? And then after it's over with, I'm sitting there thinking that can't be real. Going to have to try to debunk it. And there's just no possible explanation for it other than it was paranormal. And but one thing that really stands out actually was in the tunnel. And
Oh, wow.
you know, every time I go to that place, I'm always getting drawn to the tunnel. And there's a piece of equipment that's down in the tunnel. When you walk down, it's like on the right-hand side. And every time I go down there, I feel like somebody's watching me. And so it's hard for me to look the other direction in the tunnel because I'm always trying to catch something on the other side. And so, you know, I was sitting there with my camera, and I just kind of looking around, and I'd look back over my shoulder because I just felt something over there, and then I look back, and I see this shadow figure standing on the right side of the tunnel. And then all of a sudden, it looked at me and then put its foot down and then took like 3 steps and then just disappeared to the other side. And, of course, then another thing happened this past New Year's Eve. We had investigated the old South Pittsburgh hospital.
Yeah, I was wanting to talk to you about that. Tell us all about that, because that looks really cool.
Awesome location. The rates are outstanding. And, I mean, you can't beat the place for activity. And there was just a small group of us, and, you know, we were doing it overnight. And, you know, there was a few rooms that we'd gone in, and they told us, you know, well, we've never really got any activity out of this room. But some of the people that had died there, they left their belongings. So there was still clothes hanging in the closet, shoes hanging up, you know, on the little shelves and stuff. And, you know, they had, like, their personal effects and stuff, like, just sitting around. And
yeah,
so,
that's creepy.
you know, we go to this one room, and they told us, you know, well, this lady that stayed here, she liked her clothes and stuff. And so I take one of my pods that I make, and we set it out on the floor. And my girlfriend starts doing an EVP session, and I'm just kind of standing back observing. And she says something about this one jacket that's in the closet. As soon as she touched that jacket, my pod started going off.
Uh-oh. Struck a nerve.
Right. Okay. So then she took her hand away, and it went off. And then every time she said something about that one jacket, now, she could touch anything else in the closet.
Nothing
It didn't go off. That one jacket must have been that lady's favorite, because every time she said, I'm going to take your jacket, I'm going to take it home with me. I think that'll fit. Every time she touched it or said something about it, it would light up.
Wow.
And we're
So
talking...
your pod is like, it's called an ESP, is that right?
Right.
Okay, cool. Okay,
And,
we'll talk about that. Go ahead.
But, I mean, this went on for like 10 minutes.
Wow.
You know, we were sitting there trying to debunk it the whole time, and we're like, well, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And I was just kind of standing back, just going, I am not believing this. And so we're like, well, we've got to go get some of the other people to come up here and check this out. So we go get some other people to come back and redo the whole EVP session thing, and it starts doing the same thing. And all these other people sitting there going, "Oh my God, I am not believing this." And I mean, we have other people there with other equipment, and their equipment's not doing anything. And so, which, I mean, it's, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that mine's the best or anything by no means, but just saying that out of the REM pod and the K2, evidently the spirit that was there didn't like those. And so it was a lot of fun. I mean,
does yours make noise? Does yours buzz real loud, or does it just light up, or does it have a subtle buzz to it? You know, I mean,
it just, well, the
REM pod seems so, you know what I'm saying? I mean, and I'd be like, damn, man, simmer down, you know what I'm saying?
Well, you know, now, I mean, I make my version of the REM pod, which it does make a low-sounding buzz.
Right.
But, and it will light up. But now the pod is just the light. And a lot of the stuff that makes the noises, I really don't like those because, I mean, not saying that you're scared anything off, but I just like to have quiet. That way, you know, there's a potential chance that you may pick up an EVP that you normally couldn't hear if something's going on.
Yeah, that's the thing that I find that, you know, when you're reviewing evidence and, you know, you learn this after just one time of doing it, don't ever set a freaking audio recorder next to anybody's REM pod because your eardrums will get blown completely out of your head when reviewing. Because we have like 5 recorders going, and somebody moved a REM pod from the floor to up on the dresser at this place, and they didn't realize that there was a recorder sitting there. And holy crap, the REM pod was going off, and it blew my eardrums almost out. That's the thing. Even Jeremy, with, you know, Paranologist, he doesn't like to put alarms and loud stuff on. The only thing that he really has is one thing that, you know, that makes a lot of freaking noise. And, you know, he would love to have a volume to turn it, you know, down. And he thought, you know, putting any kind of buzz so that, you know, the problem being with the lighted stuff is that in a room when you have it behind you, right, and it starts going off, you can't really notice it until it lights up the room and you're like, shit, you turn around to try to get a picture and you miss it sometimes. That's the only thing, but if it's too loud, it tends to actually, it blasts out your, you know, people reviewing, but it also could potentially cover up, like you say, some awesome EVP that you could pick up. I'm really excited to see your stuff work because I've never been around, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the skull real quick. The skull that you made, what all does that sucker entail? I mean, it looks like it's like got so much stuff to it, but what all does it do?
Well, I've got it set up to where it's on a tripod.
Okay.
And the electronics that's inside, it's got a motion sensor, and when it detects something, the eyes will illuminate red.
Okay.
And then I've also got a K2 meter built into the mouth.
Okay.
So whenever you hit something on the K2, the mouth will start lighting up.
Oh, cool.
And then I've got a microphone, one in each ear. It kind of looks like gauges. And but, you know, I've got the microphones in the ear, and then I've got a little mount that's on the tripod where you can set your recorder. Both of the microphones are tied in together. You can plug it into your recorder and then do your EVPs that way. That way, if you've got it set up somewhere in a different room, you know, you've got your EVP session going on, you've got your K2 meter going, and you've got your motion. which the motion setup, it does have a buzzer on it. And,
Okay.
of course, then the whole thing's been custom airbrushed. And,
Oh, yeah, that was sweet looking, too.
yeah, it was a pain trying to find somebody to do it because we were going on a trip to Florida, and I figured I'll take it with me. I'll see if I can find somebody to do it there. Couldn't find anybody to touch it. I think they were scared of it. And,
looks like a devil.
so I was like, okay, so that's out of the question. So I started trying to search somebody out, and I finally found someone that was pretty close to me, and he offered to do it, and so I dropped it off to him as soon as I got finished with all the electronics and stuff in it, and then he kept it for like a week and a half or 2 weeks. And then as soon as the day I got it back, I didn't even get to look at it and ooh and ah, because the other half of the Deep South Paranormal guys, Benny Reed and Jonathan Hodges, they captured it from me the day I picked it up, and took it with them for a couple of months, and showed it off at some of the places that they were going, and then so I got it back, and just been kind of playing around with it, taking it to some of these little events and stuff I've been going to.
Yeah, well, we got a little event coming up that I can't wait for you. Are you bringing it to Sloth?
Oh, it'll be there. It'll be there.
Oh, sweet! I get to finally meet this thing, man. I've been looking at this little baby online going, man, I want one of them, man, I want one of them. That was so cool. How much would one of them run if somebody was to want one of them without the custom paint job? Let me just add that, because I can get that done.
Right. Honestly, I haven't even really thought about
how much you'd sell them for. It'd take you what? How long does it take to actually build that?
Well, that one was the first one that I started to build, and
So you just
I know my girlfriend was getting upset because she was like, "He's got a lot of time in that." And I was like,
not at me. Hello.
Yeah, I know. And and a lot. With anything that I build, I'll sit down with a piece of paper and I'll draw it out, and I'll figure out my schematics on everything, and then and I'll start building something. Really, if I calculated the time that it took me to build that, just guessing kind of high, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Of course, a lot of this stuff, it's, I don't work on it, like, constantly. Some stuff I do. It just depends. If I've got a lot of orders and stuff, I'll just lay stuff out there and start an assembly line and go from there. But I hate doing that because at least probably, God, I don't know, like, especially when I do some of my lights, when I lay out like an assembly line, I'll have 50 lights laid out, trying to drill everything, and I'll screw a couple up here and there, and of course, those go off to the side, and I'll
darn over
parts. I'll use the parts for something else, but I don't know. I haven't even really thought about a price for that.
Well, when you do, let me know. All right? Let me know, because I got a guy down here that I went to high school with. This guy used to blow my hair back with just freehand drawing of skulls and all these killer paint jobs and stuff. And now his name's actually Joe Martin, and he actually won the bike-off against Australia and England, and actually kicked their butt, and he's actually a friend of mine from high school. So he does all kinds of custom cool-looking freaking paint jobs. Like, he'd be so awesome in, like, hockey helmets and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But he does choppers and bikes and cars, and, man, his artwork is crazy amazing. So, yeah, but just think about the price, because I'm seriously thinking about actually getting one of those, because I think that is so cool, especially if things pan out and things might happen on TV. It'd be really cool to have that. You know what I mean? It looks really cool. as far as on any kind of show or anything.
Right.
What happened at Coon Hospital at the Parafest? Because that's where you met up with Kevin Betcher, Randy Hardy, and all them. How did that go?
Oh, that was great.
Was it?
Actually, I guess I got into town probably a day before they did. And
Okay.
So when we hooked up, that night we ended up going to the hospital, and there was some interesting stuff that went on. I know we got some pretty good EVPs, and which really what was crazy, I think it was like on the second or third floor. I think it was the morgue, if I'm not mistaken. Which now in that hospital, there's some walls that's collapsed, and of course I know.
Oh hell yeah! It almost hurt them, didn't it? I think David Childers posted about the ceiling collapsing about 2.5 feet away from some investigators not too long ago.
Yeah,
so that hospital is a little dangerous now.
Yeah, there were some possible health hazards around there as far as the damage stuff that's been done. But
yeah,
we get up on the second or third floor, and we're like, wonder which direction we should go. And then about that time, one of these huge 100-pound solid wooden doors opens up. And it swung open, hit the wall, and we're like, hey, we're going over here in this room. And, so it was like we were invited in there.
Come on in.
But we got some pretty decent stuff. It was a lot of fun. And, of course, then we investigated the, I guess, the Strain Theater in Pittsburgh. And it was a lot of fun. We got some pretty good EVPs, and, they were really convincing, some of the stuff we got. I think I'd have to ask Kevin, but I think that some of the EVPs we got were saying that there was something that was buried underneath the floor of the stage. And
now, that wouldn't shock me at all.
Well, now, it was confirmed. I think David or somebody had tracked down the owner, like, right after we got that EVP, and we found out that something actually was buried under the floor that no one knew about. It was a time capsule. And so, yeah, there was a lot of
I just got chills. That's cool.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that happened that was actually confirmed by the owner of the place. So, it was a good time. And got to see some of the sites and do a little ghost hunting, and it was all good.
Did you actually get to go to the Vicksburg Memorial, like the War Memorial Cemetery, that real cool, that's huge, and you drive through it and all that stuff? Did you go through that at all?
Actually, we were going to go to it. Now, some of them did, but I think everybody that was going like the next day, and we all left before we got a chance to go. But I did pass through there. We didn't get out and do anything, but it was a lot of fun to see some of the stuff, and the hospital was awesome. Even though there was a potential risk of getting hurt or killed, it was a great place to go. And
can you sign it when you have to sign a waiver before you go somewhere? That it's pretty dangerous as far as that goes. And there are a lot of places that, as paranormal investigators, we go that are very, very dangerous, and some of the risks you can't even see. Like asbestos or some crap like that can jack your lungs up. But of all the creepy places that you've been, I've probably been to quite a few. What would you say was like a couple of your top faves? Because you've probably been to places that I haven't even heard of. Because like the old South Pittsburgh Hospital. I've heard of it, but I've never been there. I wanted to go. I know, weren't you there with Richard Ruland and Keith Ramsey and all them?
No, that was
another time.
That was at the Fayetteville Hospital.
The Fayetteville Hospital. Okay. But were you with Richard Ruland at this one, or is that a totally different one?
No, it was a totally different one.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was kind of a last-minute thing for us, and I'd been trying to get some equipment together for some orders and stuff I had, and I was like, hey, let me throw something together so we can take, and, I want to test some of this stuff out at that hospital. And which I was glad I did, because it was awesome. And
so you got some good results.
Well, I mean, out of top 5 experiences, that was there. I mean,
wow,
it had to be in the top 5.
Wow. So you would say Sloss is up there for sure, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, Sloss is, well, I mean, I'm fairly close to Sloss, and, and I've been there a bunch of times. And, of course, when you go in the daytime, it's free to get in. And there's no one leading you through or anything. So, I mean, yeah, so what? I've got my recorder, and I've got a camera or whatever, and no one's going to say anything, and no one's ever there. And so you can get out there and do your thing and, have a good time, and it doesn't cost a thing.
Wow.
Of course, I've been there several times at night, and it's a lot better in the dark.
Yeah.
But
something creepy about all that machinery that kills people, that killed people in the past, and all those people. The history of Sloss itself, because I had the lady Heather Nowak on that is the operations kind of person for marketing or whatever. And, she was telling me some of the history about how they would go pick up people from the boat, bring them back there, and then they would pay them in these little things. I can't remember what the hell she called them. And they would have to spend that money. It wasn't good anywhere else but on the property store. So Sloss Furnaces pretty much is like a modern-day slave trade type thing where they would kind of imprison them to kind of, and I said, that kind of sounds like, well, I'm not going to say any big, huge name, but, a big, huge corporation that people work for them for pennies, and then, of course, they turn around and give them all their money back because that's where everything is, and that's where everybody goes, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like that, but back in the day, they would pay them with these little coin things that they could only spend on the property, and so we don't know, and I asked her how many people actually died there. Now, that we're going to do a little forensics work with TACC while we're there, too. That's going to be kind of an added bonus. Along with checking out your equipment, I'll have my little stuff, too, which not really my stuff, but, stuff I sell. And we're just going to test it all out. And so Blaine tells me, Blaine Rohan, he's been there a gajillion times, and he's challenged me to stay in the tunnels with him as long as humanly possible, because even grown men have been known to run out of this place crying like little bitches, supposedly. So what do you think about that challenge? Do you think I'll be able to hang, or do you think it's kind of rough down there, or what's your opinion of that area? Besides, I know you get the feeling that people watch you down there.
Well, I want to go past the equipment that's down there. I want to go back there, which I think when Ghost Adventures did their little thing on it, I actually think they went past the equipment, and that's where they were getting, like, crazy activity. And, yeah, that's where I want to go. That's where I want to go. I would love to I would sleep there if I could. And,
might be a little cold in February, though, bud. Just saying.
Well, I don't know. Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, we were indoors, and I had 2 jackets and gloves on. And, so, yeah, it was pretty chilly in there, and we actually slept there when we got finished investigating. So, but, yeah, I mean, I don't think you'd have any trouble down there. I mean,
there's a lot of talk about physical attacks and people getting scratched and pushed and women's hair getting pulled and kind of fondled. And I was kind of joking, saying, Blaine, I might confuse them, though. You know what I mean? They might not know.
As long as somebody checks the place out, because, Birmingham is featured on the first 48, so you never know who's going to be around. and outside of the ghost. And but yeah, I mean, I've been touched and scratched and pulled on and tugged and pushed and everything else. And you know, I mean, bring it on. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and scream at something and try to provoke them, but I mean, heck, if that's the way they want to come forward and let me know that they're there, you know, by all means, do it.
Right. You know, that's exactly right. I was going to talk to you about what your stance was on provoking. Is there an okay time to provoke? And if so, when is that? I mean, what are your thoughts on provoking? Because a lot of people have different thoughts.
Well, I mean, when we go out somewhere, I mean, we don't provoke or anything. I mean, of course, you know, it just depends. I mean, you know, if we're somewhere and we're doing an EVP session and we get stuff coming across, you know, cussing us and, you know, and just crazy stuff,
right?
You know, I might say something.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, I mean, if they're coming across and, you know, and I'm getting pushed or something, by all means, yeah, I'm going to throw a few Hail Marys out there and push me again, you know. And but I mean, I'm not going in somewhere to provoke something. I mean, you know, I'm just going to let it flow and see what happens. And but sloths, the tunnel, you know, I mean, yeah, I don't think you'll have any problems there at all. And like I said, I would love to be in on that and just get me past the machinery and, you know, and let me hang over there because I know every time that I've been there, there's something on that side. And
well, we'll go down there. Blaine's going to take us down there, you know, especially if you're coming in a day early. There's a lot of things going on that the speakers are going to get to actually do and get ready for everybody, you know, so that way the people that are coming to hang with us on Friday and Saturday, you know, they're going to get the best experience. We're going to find where all the hot spots are, and we're going to take you people there. We're going to investigate those hot spots with you, and that's what's cool because Gary's going to be there with his badass equipment. And you know, you'll be able to see it work firsthand. And, you know, we're going to have a lot of first-timers, too, Gary, that I'm looking forward to because I love seeing the look on their face when they come in as skeptics, and they're like, yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm going to have to, you know, like, I'm going to have to see a ghost before I believe. And then when something happens like that, a piece of equipment lights up or buzzes or whatever, the look on their faces is the best.
So, I mean, you know, it's like what happened with us at South Pittsburgh Hospital. There was some people that was their first time. And, of course, they started experiencing stuff. They started having, like, physical stuff go wrong with them. No, I mean, one of the stories, I don't know how up-to-date you are on some of the stories from the hospital, but there was a little boy that was brought in, I guess, to the ER. He thought that he was playing with worms, and he was sticking them in his pocket. They were actually baby copperheads.
Oh.
And so he got bit, and he died in the hospital. And I'm sure, you know, since he had them in his hands and was shoving them in his pockets, I'm sure he got bit on his hand.
Right, God.
You know, in his legs and stuff. Well, one of the first-timers that was there with us, she started experiencing numbness and pains and stuff in her hand. And then it would go away. And she'd never had that before. And it just happened while we were in that one particular room. And so I think that if she came in as a skeptic, she left as a believer for sure, because between that and some of the equipment and stuff that was going off and some of the other locations of the hospital, I think that pretty much everybody that was there, that if they came in as a skeptic, they left believing and were trying to schedule their next event to go somewhere.
Oh, yeah. It don't take much, let me tell you, because when I first started, I mean, I have had abilities my whole life that I really didn't know what the hell I had. You know what I mean? I was experiencing things I didn't understand or know who to talk to really about it. My mom was cool to talk to about it, but, I lost her, and then I was all lost. You know what I mean? And when I started actually understanding my abilities and things like that, was way after I started paranormal investigating. And when I would go to these places, and the first time I went to a place and had an experience, man, you get that it's like an addiction. And it's like, oh my God, I need a haunted location ASAP. I got to have a fix. It gets into your blood. You have to do it. It's so weird. And at least it was for me. And it's funny how the first timers, when they come in there, not believing, and then they leave, and they're like ready to go again and again and again. That's how it starts. People, that's how your addiction to paranormal starts, man. It's bad. You'll need meetings. I'm telling you.
Well, and it worked the same way for me. I started finding out years later that I started having these abilities, to see things and to feel things and everything.
Yeah.
And, and I can go into a room and, and not every time, but I can go into certain rooms and I'm like, hell, there's somebody standing right there.
Yeah, I feel somebody in here. Yeah, not every time though. Not that good.
And I can see. Of course, now the house that I live in, there's stuff in the house. I see stuff. Of course, we've got a lot of antiques, and because that's another business that we do. We operate multiple eBay and Amazon accounts and stuff, and that's what we do. We go out and find hidden treasures and sell them. And of course, we've got a lot of personal items and stuff that's like really old, and I see stuff all the time. And it's all the time, and it's pretty fun. Knowing that something's around. It's just there's certain times that you see stuff and you're just like, okay, where did that one come from? What did we just get? And wonder if it came from that or not. And
wow.
Yeah, it happens. Actually, in the same room that we were in at the hospital the other night, I had went over to the closet and had started messing with the clothing that was in there, trying to see if I could get some kind of response. And I did. I looked down, and there was somebody standing beside me. There was a shadow figure. And then it walked forward like 2 steps, and then it was gone. And, of course, I was the only one in the room that got to see it. There was someone else in the room, and they pinpointed exactly where I saw it before, and I didn't even tell them where it was at. So, it's crazy how this stuff works, and I guess it's just a matter of trying to figure it out and go from there.
And trying to open it up. Yeah, that's the problem I had is that, when I was little, I had the deja vu, and then I started having the premonition, out-of-body dreams and stuff that was, happening or happened shortly after my dream, you know what I mean? Things like that.
Right.
And then I go to these investigations. Now, this is still before I was told I'm an actual empath, that I have empathic abilities, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know that, but I would go to all these different places, and, when you're fired up when you get to a location, you know what I mean? You're ready to go. You're ready to pick this out and taking a nap, and you're ready to stay up till 5 in the morning, you know what I mean? And, your adrenaline's pumped, and then all of a sudden you walk in this house, and you're like, you get a headache, and you get sick, and you're like, what the hell? Or you go to this other place, and you start wanting to cry all of a sudden, and you're like, what? And so I didn't understand what the hell was going on with me. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't happen at every location, just like you can't get evidence at every damn location you go to. But when there was actual spirits at a place, I can walk in and definitely feel they're there. Now, I can't see them, and I can't hear them. You know what I mean? But I can feel their emotions. I can feel if they were an asshole, I start getting all, you know what I mean? It was weird. So when I went to the psychic in February of 2014, and she tells me, to ask me all these questions, and I'm like, yeah, I do that, yeah, that's me, totally me. It's like, you're a damn empath. And I'm like, well, what the hell is that? You know what I mean? I've been called a lot of shit in my day, you know what I mean? But I'm never an empath. Right. So you need to explain your damn self, lady. So she tells me what it is, and it's like, that aha moment that goes off when you're like, holy crap, I'm not crazy. This is exactly, okay, everything's making sense now. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, and now I'm trying to learn how to not pick up on everyone else around me shit, like their feelings, and have my own, and try to shield and ground and all that. And that's tough. After 40-some years of not even, just soaking it all in, you know what I mean? And just not even knowing how to stop it, not even knowing what was happening. That's the hardest part, you know what I mean? But now I'm trying to open up, and I'm starting to get names, and that's kind of weird. And I'm asking my friends that are psychics, hey, when you hear a name in your head, is it your voice or is it somebody else's voice? Things like that. So, do things like that happen to you, or is it more visuals, or,
It just depends. I have a lot of, I see a lot of stuff, and, and I do hear a lot of stuff. I hear, heck, if I had a recorder strapped to my neck 24/7, there's no telling what kind of EVPs I
like if you could hook it up to your eardrum, you know what I mean? If you could just hook something.
I'm always like standing around the house or something, and I'm like, okay, just a minute. And I'm answering them back, and because I'm thinking it's my girlfriend or something saying something to me. And I find her, and she's like outside or something. I'm like, hey, were you just saying something to me? And she was like, no, but I'm here. Okay, never mind.
And she looks at you like, yeah, you're gone.
Yeah, it happens all the time. And of course, I don't know if it's from being around me so long or what, but she's got to where she's hearing stuff too. And a lot of times we hear this stuff together. And of course, what's even weirder than that, it's like a lot of times we'll know what each other's thinking, and we'll say the same thing at the same time or whatever.
That's kind of getting a little bit. That's kind of getting a little bit too on the same page, huh?
Yeah, I can't explain it, but of course, I've been seeing stuff. Like I remember I was 5 or 6 years old, and was probably the first time that I ever saw something. And I was at my grandparents' house outside playing, and I kept hearing one of these plastic balls that you get from like Walmart. They have in like these big cages,
Oh yeah. Those big old huge bouncy balls are crazy. Yeah,
I kept hearing one of those bouncing like on the driveway, and I was like, "What in the world was that?" And I turned around and looked, and there's this girl bouncing this ball.
Wow!
And she's calling my name out. Want to play? And I'm like, "Who the hell are you?" And and I started getting closer, and then she's gone. And so then I never did pay really any attention. Of course, I was young. And, of course, even as I got older, I really didn't think anything about it. But here probably in the last 4 or 5 years, things have really, intensified. And, there's 2 incidents that happened this past year, and I really don't know what to think about it. I've really not spoke to anybody about it, except my girlfriend. And not saying that I predicted 2 deaths that happened, but there was someone that I went to school with over 20-something years ago, and I hadn't spoke to this person in that long, and I sent him a message. I found him on Facebook, sent him a message at like 4 o'clock in the morning. It was like, hey, is something wrong? How you been doing? I just think something's wrong. And just thinking about you or whatever. And come to find out, that person's son had died probably about the same time I'd sent that message. And same situation happened probably about maybe 3 to 5 days later, almost the same scenario.
Got this gut feeling that something was jacked up with somebody, and you just had to reach out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird, and I can't explain it. Like I said, I've never really spoke to anybody about it. I mean, this just happened, this past year, and it still puzzles me. I don't know if you can Google that or not, but I wouldn't even know where to begin to try to figure that one out.
Well, that's kind of the weird thing that happened to me when I was a child. Well, I was 11. Probably almost 12, and I had this dream that I was in the car with this guy, right? And we were cruising, and actually he was racing my dad and his other friend behind us, okay? And I was in the passenger seat, and all of a sudden this car starts going out of, all wacky, and I knew he was losing control, and it was like I floated out of the car and watched the wreck through what my dad saw, right? Weirder thing about it is I saw the guy fly out of the window, out of his driver's side window, and I heard his neck snap on the ground when he hit. And I woke up freaking out, right? And it was my dad's best friend. And weird thing about that is it happened, I think, I don't know how dreams are timed or whatever. I don't know if I dreamed it while it was happening, right before it was happening or whatever, but it scared me to where when I woke up, it had happened, right?
Right.
And my mom was on the phone, and so guilt is associated with my thing. You know what I mean? I feel like my dream caused that man to die. But I've since went to a lot of therapy. You know what I mean? When I was that age, I went to therapy and stuff to know that I couldn't control that. Just like you can't control the messages that you may be getting that somebody is in jeopardy. You know what I mean?
Right.
As an empath, I can feel people like this lady on a plane coming in and sitting down, and I could feel her heart breaking literally. You know what I mean? I felt so bad for her, but I knew if I asked her that she was going to tell me everything about it. And sure enough, I was right on. Things like that are just something we can't explain. I've asked, people that have hardcore abilities how they get messages. I mean, how is it like? How does it work? Skip tells me he has no freaking idea how it works. It just does. And Carly says when she gets messages in her head that it's like a little movie, those old-timey movies that had the, like the, that would flip and then the end, it would say the end. The real movies, yes, that's it.
Right.
That's what hers does. And she says when it's over, it'll just not have any more pictures on the reel. It's just done. It's like the end. You know what I mean? It's just, and that's it. That's all she gets. So we can't explain how it works, but the thing is, it's cool that it does. Sometimes it can be good, and sometimes it can be bad. Like I predicted my little sister being pregnant. I said, "You're pregnant and have a boy." You don't know what the hell you're talking about. 2 months, 3 weeks later, she calls me and goes, "Bitch, I'm pregnant." I told you. My mom could do the same thing. So these abilities are just not, we just can't explain them. But so, out of all the places that you've been and everything, I can't wait to actually be at SLOS with you and investigate, check that place out. We're going to also do a little bit of forensic work, like I said, with PACC, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how that end of it goes.
Right.
Where else are you going to be besides SLOS Furnaces? I mean, do you have any other events that are scheduled just yet, or is that the only one for right now? Or
I'll go wherever anybody wants me.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I told Carol. I told her, I said, "Hey, wherever you want me, I'll go.
Right.
Providing that I can get there and this, that, and the other." And and she's like, "Well, hey, why don't you go here and why don't you go there?" And I'm like, "If you want me there, I'll be there." So
yeah, you gotta get me there, sister girl. You gotta help me get there.
So any of the events that she's got going on, that I guess this coming year or this year, if things are good, I'm there, and
Awesome.
Anything in between.
Yeah, that's me too. You know what I'm saying? And I hope that I was hoping that you would possibly be able to work out coming on that cruise with me and Randy and Kevin.
Yeah, that would be fun.
2016, you think?
Yeah,
I'm like, woo! I'm looking so forward to that. I can barely wait. I'm like, damn, we just started 2015, and I'm already looking forward to 2016. But we have a lot of things, and there's a lot of other events that you probably could check out, because I'm sure Ozarks Phenomenon, which is going to be in March the 28th, I believe. It's up in Springfield, Missouri. I don't know how close you are to that place. Where exactly? Where are you out of?
I'm in Alabama.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
So,
Sweet home, baby.
yeah. So I'm looking forward to the semi-short trip to Birmingham coming up. And, of course, I do like a good road trip.
Oh, I hear you. Well, you know what? I really appreciate you being on tonight, man. I really do. And I will look forward to seeing you in February. We only got like 5 weeks, so, and I'll be ready to go.
Oh, yeah, counting it down. It won't be long now.
And check out Gary on Facebook and look up Spirit Paranormal Equipment and check his stuff out. It's really cool. He's got ESPs. He's got, all kinds of stuff. So check it out. And don't touch my skull. That's mine, folks. Thanks again, Gary. Hi, man. You have a good one, man.
All right, you too. Thanks a lot.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, everybody, that was Gary Brown with Spirit Paranormal Equipment, and we will both be actually at Floss Furnaces on February 13th and 14th. You can get your tickets now at flossfurnaces.com. Just a couple of announcements real quick. We have Ozarks Phenomenon, which is their first. Would like to welcome them into the event circuit. Ozarks Phenomenon, which will be in Springfield, Missouri on March 28th. Then Jody Breckenridge, the awesome Jody Breckenridge of Jefferson, Texas, will be having History, Haunts, and Legends April the 11th in Jefferson, Texas. Then in Tyler, Texas, we have the Tyler Paracon, and that is April 25th. Then the big Dark Side Entertainment event that I can't wait for is Tombstone, Arizona, May 1st. Look up Haunting at Tombstone on Facebook. Like it, get your tickets now. There's only a couple left. It's almost sold out. And then we have Phenomenology 107, and they call it Phenometon, and it will be up in Pennsylvania, and it is from the 18th through the 21st. Cannot wait for next week. Who do I have next week? Oh, my God. I think it is Lisa Martin next week. Lisa Livingston Martin. That is exactly who I have. And I would like to thank my sponsor, Syntex Root System. Thank you all for listening. Have a great week. I'll talk to you all next Tuesday. Peace out.